Everyone, good morning. Thank you, Anthony. This is a very energetic presentation this morning that prepares us for what's coming up. I'm a psychologist. I'm from the Edmonton region in New Brunswick, and I've been doing conference for about 12 years. I'm very happy to be with you this morning. So, I want to bring some strategies for the well-being, but also to boost our energy levels. Just like I've mentioned, I'm a psychologist, and we're being told that psychologists really like tests. So when I start my conferences, I start with tests to see and evaluate my audience. There's always two choices. There's a personality test or an intelligence test. But this crowd today is so wonderful that I decided to do both. You'll see it's not very complicated. We'll all start by opening up our hands just like this. In a quick movement, be careful to your neighbors. In a quick movement, we close down our hands like that. Stay like that. There's a study that touches on personality in psychology, which says, and this is a highly scientific study, that said that the people who put the right thumb above the left thumb have an intelligence that is superior.
Eh oui.
Yep. But there's also another study. Extremely scientific and even more, which says that people who put the right thumb above the left thumb above the left thumb above the right thumb. This study says that people who the reverse are extremely sexy. So we know who's who in the room. Who's the intelligent ones? Please raise your hand. And now, who are the sexies?
Donc, Anthony fait partie de nos sexies.
So Anthony is among our sexies. Perfect. Unfortunately, we can't have both. Either one or the other. In very rare scenarios, it could happen that someone places their thumbs like that. Do we have some in the room? Can you raise your hand? Oh, we have a man right there. We have a lady over there. You are rare cases, and you are intelligent and very sexy. So we'll use you today in this presentation. Now, because I believe in second chances, we will proceed with the intelligence test. So the other ones, those who are not, you can take a break. You don't have to do it if you're not intelligent. For the sexies, I'll give you a second chance.
Alors, vous allez voir, c'est pas super compliqué.
You'll see it's not very difficult. We have one bus and one driver.
Il y a 4 personnes qui montent dans l'autobus.
We have 4 people get in the bus.
De personnes dans l'autobus?
How many people do we have on the bus?
5. Hey, ça commence
5.
fort. Ça commence fort.
We're starting strong.
Mais ça continue.
But let's keep going.
L'autobus part, il arrête.
The bus stops. 5 other people get on the bus. Yeah, the bus goes and stops. There's 10 people that get in and 5 that get out. Bus starts and stops. 10 people get in and there's 5 more that get out. Are you following me? The bus stops again. 10 other people get on the bus. Don't use your phones. The bus stops, and 5 other people get out. We're getting there. The bus stops, and there are 10 people that get out. I'm starting to see frowns. The bus stops. 5 people get on board,
L'avant-dernier stop.
and
Le bus part
the
y allait,
last two,
il y a 10
the
autres personnes qui montent,
second
et
stop to
finalement,
last, then 10 other people get
le bus
in,
part y
get
arrête,
on the
il y a
bus,
20 personnes
and then
qui
the bus
descendent,
stops, 20 people get
il y a
out,
10 personnes qui montent.
and 10 people get
Et
on.
maintenant,
And now,
la question qui tue.
the killer question.
L'autobus s'est arrêté combien de fois?
How many times did the bus stop?
Pour réussir dans la vie, que ce soit dans notre vie
To have
personnelle,
success in
au
life, be
travail,
it in a
pour
personal
réussir, c'est
life
vraiment
or at
important de
work,
mettre notre focus à la
it's
bonne
very
place.
important to focus on the
Lorsqu'on met
right
notre
elements.
énergie ou notre focus à la mauvaise
Because
place,
when we have our
c'est
energy or
vraiment
focus
difficile
at the
de
wrong
obtenir les
place, it's
résultats
very
qu'on
difficult to
souhaite
have the
obtenir.
results that we want to
Okay?
have.
Donc, on va y revenir à
So we'll come back to
l'importance
that,
du focus à la
on the
fin de
importance
cette
of focus
présentation
at
ici.
the end of the presentation.
Donc, est-ce qu'on est prêt? Je pense que Anthony serait bon pour
Are we ready? And I
motiver la
think
salle. Est-ce
Anthony would
qu'on
be
est
good
prêt
to
à
shake
aller
things
de
up a
l'avant
little
avec
bit.
une
But are we
conférence
ready
pour
to
booster
go
notre énergie?
forward
On
with
est-tu
this
prêt?
conference to boost our
All
energy
right,
levels?
all right,
Are you
okay,
ready?
okay. Donc, 3, 2, 1, c'est parti.
3, 2, 1,
Donc,
go.
aujourd'hui,
Today,
6 stratégies
we have 6
pour
strategies.
se booster ensemble. Donc,
to
pour se
boost
booster
together.
soi-même, mais aussi
You can
pour
boost
aider à
yourself,
booster
but to
nos
help
TEE
boost
et nos
our
SWIS
TEE
quand
and
on
our
va
SWIS
retourner dans nos milieux de travail.
when we'll go back to our work
Donc,
environments.
Voici les différentes choses qu'on va
Workplaces.
voir ensemble. Donc, on va
Here
parler
are
de
the different
stress.
things we'll see
Donc,
together. We'll
gérer
talk
le
about
stress avec le
stress,
stress
so managing
nous
stress
arrive.
before it manages
On va
us.
réfléchir un peu à la
We'll
fatigue
think
de
about
compassion. Donc, comment
compassion
aider sans
fatigue,
s'épuiser. On
how
va
to
renforcer
help without burning
le
out.
muscle de la résilience.
We'll strengthen the
Comment
resilience
favoriser la
muscle
résilience
or
chez nos TEE
promote
et
resilience
nos SWIS. On
to
va
our
regarder
TEE
comment devenir un
and
leader
our
bienveillant.
SWIS.
Donc, on va
We
parler de
will
leadership.
look at how to
On
become a
va parler
caring leader.
d'attitude, sur
We'll talk about
l'importance d'être
attitude,
positif pour notre santé
the importance of being positive for our psychological
Puis, on va
health,
parler de
for the
focus,
well-being.
donc, comme mentionné,
And we'll
on va
talk about
terminer
focus.
cette présentation-là avec
And
le
we'll
focus.
end
Donc,
the
je vous ai préparé un
presentation
petit
with
document.
focus.
Donc, les premières pages, c'est
I
vraiment
have a
juste une
small
prise de notes,
document for
un
you.
peu en fonction de chaque
It's taking notes a little bit according to the strategies in each section. And in the second part of this document, there's a toolbox. And I would like for you to leave today with concrete tools that you can apply in your work. For each section, there are tools that I put in the toolbox. But I would like today, with the discussions and by brainstorming together, that we find other strategies in maybe certain regions that will give out strategies that could help others, and that could be a rich conversation. That's how we're going to do today.
Donc, si on commence avec gérer le stress,
If we
avant que
start
le
with
stress
managing
nous
your stress before it
Donc, la
manages
première
you,
chose que j'aimerais faire,
the first thing I'd like to do
c'est de regarder, disons,
is I would like to take a
quels sont
look
les
at
stresseurs majeurs
the
que nos
main
SWIS et
main
TEE
types of
vont
stress
vivre
that
dans leur vie.
our SWIS
Donc,
and
juste prendre un petit
TEE
2
will
minutes,
experience in their
de
work.
réfléchir
So take about 2 minutes
c'est quoi les
and
différents stress.
think
Donc,
about the different types of
ce qu'on
stress.
va faire, je vais demander à une personne avec le micro de
I'll
circuler.
ask someone
Puis,
with
j'aimerais
a
ça qu'on
microphone
mentionne
to walk around,
c'est quoi les
and
stress qu'on
I would like you
rencontre, c'est quoi les
to
stress qui font
say
partie de notre
to
quotidien,
say
c'est
out
quoi les
loud what
défis
are the types of stress that we meet
qui se
every day.
présentent à nous,
What are the
aux
challenges
travailleurs
that we
SWIS
face,
et
that
donc,
the
on
workers in
réalise.
SWIS
J'aimerais
and
entendre des gens qui
TEE
nous racontent un petit peu
face?
c'est quoi cette
So I would
réalité-là,
people to tell
que
us
vous
what this
confrontez.
reality is, your
Donc,
reality.
en levant la main, il y a des
So
gens
please
qui
raise your
vont se
hand.
rendre à vous.
Then the microphone will reach you. Will go to you.
Good morning. So the first and biggest thing is expectations. What people or clients expect from you to give them, in like services shape. So yeah, this is one of the biggest ones.
Super.
And if you can't meet their needs, it's stressful.
Donc, on a une pression continue.
So we have
de
a,
répondre à
a
certaines
continuous pressure
peut être difficile,
in
donc,
meeting those expectations, and psychologically that it can be very, very stressful to keep operating in that mode. Are there other ones that you meet frequently?
Est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Oui.
Oui.
Can you hear
Mais
me?
on rencontre des familles qui
We
viennent
meet
de
people
différents coins
that come from different areas of the
nous
world,
racontent leur histoire.
and they tell us their story,
Des histoires qui sont des fois pas plaisantes.
and stories that sometimes are not
Les
very nice to
absorbe
hear.
tout ça, et
And we try to absorb all that, and that creates a stress
Donc, on
with
est
our
exposé
workers.
à de l'information.
So we're exposed to information that is not always
C'est quand
easy
même
to
un
manage.
super de bon point.
This is a
Ça,
very good
ça peut
point.
avoir un effet d'usure, on va en parler
It
au
could
niveau de la
have
fatigue de
it could
compassion.
have some
Peut-être deux,
negative
trois
impacts
autres
on us
personnes juste pour
and
mettre la
bring
table
fatigue
sur
and compassion.
la gestion
So
du
maybe
stress.
2 or 3 other people on stress management.
Good morning, everyone. It's when we have newcomers which doesn't speak the language, and then we help them to communicate with other services, and then things delay because of the language barrier, and then they come back to us all the time. So this also creates stress for us to actually address their need.
Donc, non seulement le défi d'accompagner, d'orienter, mais
Not
aussi
only the
cette
challenge
barrière-là
of
qui se
orienting, of guiding people, but
présente.
this
Ça demande beaucoup de
obstacle
résilience, hein,
that
c'est
requires
encore
a lot of
trouver des
resilience.
façons de trouver des solutions. Donc,
And
c'est pas
you need to keep
simplement
finding
facile.
solutions, so it's not
Parfait.
easy.
Donc, peut-être une dernière.
Perfect, excellent. So maybe a last one?
Multitasking between different cultures. We meet clients with different culture every day, so that's a challenge.
Super. Donc, le
Excellent.
multitasking.
Multitasking.
Donc, je suis certain qu'on pourrait en parler encore
I'm sure we
pendant un bon
could
moment, mais
talk
on
about
va
it for
s'enchaîner avec,
a
la
long time, but
présentation.
we'll keep going with the presentation.
Donc, si on départ de la maison de cette façon-là,
If
mais qu'on arrive à la
we
maison de l'autre façon,
leave the house like
des
this
fois, c'est un
and
peu
we
ça,
come back
on
to
a
the
une journée
house
de
and the
travail
other
qui peut
way,
être
maybe
épuisante.
sometimes this is the kind of day that is very tiring.
Ça, c'est beaucoup en lien avec le travail. Mais qu'est-ce qui arrive
That is
si
linked with work. But what
tu sais, les
happens if,
travailleurs sont-
you
c'est
know,
des
workers,
individus, c'est pas seulement
either
des
they're
travailleurs.
individuals, they're not
l'extérieur
only
du
workers,
travail,
but outside
il y
their
a peut-être
work,
d'autres stresseurs.
maybe they
Donc,
have
on peut
other
avoir
stress
des problèmes
factors.
relationnels, disons, dans
They
notre
can
couple.
have relationship
Donc, on
problems.
vient de vivre une séparation. Donc, ça
Maybe
se
they live
rajoute
through
sur notre
a
niveau de
separation
stress. Ou on a
that
des
increases the
conflits
stress level,
relationnels
or
au
we
niveau de
have
notre famille,
relationship
par exemple.
conflicts within the
Ou,
family.
on a des problèmes de santé.
It could
Donc là,
be
je me
health
préoccupe
problems.
de ma santé
So we're
continuellement.
stressed
Ça se
because
rajoute,
we want to take care of our health
sur le niveau de
continually,
stress
and
qu'on vit.
that brings up the level of
Donc,
stress.
c'est toutes des choses qu'il faut prendre en considération
These are
avec
all
les gens
things
avec
that
lesquels on
need to be
travaille, que
accounted
il va y avoir
for
des stresseurs au
with the
travail,
people we work
on
with.
a jasé,
There will
on
be
a
stress factors at
d'autres
work,
stresseurs aussi qui
but
peuvent
maybe there
venir.
could be other stress factors that come into play.
Donc, qu'est-ce qui arrive
So
si
what happens if
je pars de la maison comme ça
So what
parce que
happens
j'ai des
if
stresseurs dans ma vie
I'm
personnelle?
leaving a house like this
Là,
because I
j'arrive au
have a
travail comme ça,
stressor
puis
in
là,
my
je pars du
personal
travail
life
comme ça. Là,
and
c'est une roue
I'm
qui
coming
tourne.
to work
C'est là
and I'm
qu'on
leaving work
rencontre un peu
with the same
d'épuisement,
stress?
c'est-à-dire
So
qu'on
that's
vide nos
why
batteries.
it's a
S'il
wheel
y a beaucoup de stresseurs dans notre vie
continuously
personnelle,
turning.
beaucoup de
That's
stresseurs dans notre
why
vie au
we
travail,
are having
on peut être
burnout.
résilient, mais à un moment
We're
donné,
emptying our
nos
batteries.
batteries
There's a lot of
viennent
stressors in our
à se
personal life and
décharger.
stressor in our work life as
Donc, je vous
well.
donne
So
un
we
autre
can be
défi.
resilient, but at a point, our
On
battery,
a
they will
testé
be done.
votre intelligence.
So I have another
Maintenant,
challenge for
on va
you. We
tester
tested
votre
your
intelligence
intelligence,
émotionnelle.
and now let's
OK?
test your
Donc,
emotional
j'ai
intelligence.
deux tâches pour vous.
So I
OK?
have two tasks
Donc,
for you.
être capable de reconnaître c'est quoi
To be
l'émotion
able to
qu'on voit dans
recognize
l'image.
the emotion
Donc,
that you see
identifier
on the
l'émotion.
image,
Donc,
so
les gens qui ont une
identifying
intelligence
emotions,
émotionnelle élevée, c'est assez facile.
for
Puis de
person
regarder
that
dans les 4
do
images
have
que je vais vous
elevated
présenter, où se
intelligence,
situent vos
emotional
employés,
intelligence, or it's going to be
les
easy.
personnes avec lesquelles vous
And
travaillez,
I
de
want you
voir
to
quelle
situate your
image les
employees,
représente le mieux. Donc, deux petits défis
which
pour vous.
image can
Donc, la
represent
première
them the
image,
most. So that's two challenges for you. So
qu'est-ce
this
qui
is the
serait
first
l'émotion?
image.
Puis là, on
What
n'a pas
would
vraiment
be
besoin du micro, juste le dire à voix
the
haute, je vais le
emotion here? You
répéter.
don't need the
Qu'est-ce qui
microphone.
serait
Let's just
l'émotion
say
qui
it,
pourrait se situer
just
là, dans
and
cette
repeat it,
image-là?
and then we're going to repeat it here. So what is the emotion that you can
Comment?
situate for this image here?
OK,
Can
frustration, peut-être.
frustration?
OK.
Yes, okay.
Frustré.
I'm
C'est quoi la
frustrated.
frustration si on prend
What
30
is
secondes juste pour l'expliquer?
frustration?
La
If we
frustration, c'est
take
quand
30 seconds to
je veux
discuss
obtenir
what
quelque
is
chose,
frustration, it's
il y a
when you want to
quelque chose
obtain
qui
something
m'empêche de
and
l'obtenir.
something
C'est là
else is
que la
preventing me to
frustration apparaît.
obtain it. That's
C'est un
where
peu ça, je veux
frustration
déplacer,
comes
mais je suis pas
about.
capable.
So I want to
Tu d'autres
displace
émotions?
my obstacle here, but I'm not able to. So other
L'impuissance.
emotions that come to
Moi,
mind.
moi, ce qui me parle beaucoup dans cette image-là,
Uh,
c'est un peu
so
l'impuissance de dire
so
le
actually,
défi est vraiment
the
grand,
challenge is
je
so
travaille
big
vraiment fort,
that you feel
mais c'est comme
powerless.
si
So
j'y
powerlessness.
arrive pas.
So it's
Ça
as
se
if you're
confond un
not
peu comme ça
able to
parfois.
get to
On va
it.
dire,
So
ben,
that's
le
how we feel
défi,
sometimes, that the
ce
challenge,
travail-là
this
de
work
coordination, etc., c'est quand même un travail qui est très exigeant.
of a
Puis,
coordination, it's actually really
j'arrive pas
a
à
hard
fournir,
one.
disons.
And I
Donc, le
cannot
deuxième,
manage to provide everything that
qu'est-ce qui
I
pourrait être
should or I
l'émotion?
want to. Second, here, what would be the
Overwhelm.
emotion here? So
Hein, je suis
overwhelm.
dépassé.
So
Soit
I'm
qu'il y a trop de
overwhelmed.
tâches,
So
trop de
either there's
choses à
too many
faire,
tasks, too
soit
many
qu'il
things to do,
y a trop de changements,
or there's too many
soit qu'il y a trop
changes,
de nouveaux arrivements dans une période
or
donnée.
too
Donc,
many
ça se peut qu'on se sente
newcomers
un
in
peu
a period
comme ça.
given during the year. So maybe we can feel like that.
Qu'est-ce qui
What would be
serait
the emotion here
l'émotion de cette petite fille-là?
of this little girl here?
Dégoûtée,
Disgust, yes.
impuissance, je suis coincé dans mon
Powerlessness, yes.
siège.
I'm stuck in my
Je
seat,
dois
and I
accepter
must
une réalité qui n'est pas toujours
accept a
facile.
reality that's not easy to
Des fois,
accept.
c'est ça, hein, on est dans un système, il y a des règles, il y a
So,
une structure,
anyway, we're
il y a
going to
des
be in
choses.
a
Des fois, on doit
system with
accepter un
rules and a
mode de
structure, and we
fonctionnement ou
need
une
to accept
réalité
a way
qui
to that
fait
the
pas
things are
toujours notre
functioning,
affaire.
or a reality
OK?
that's not
Puis le
necessarily
dernier,
what we want. And the last one,
qu'est-ce qui serait l'émotion?
what would be the emotion here?
Comment? La panique, OK?
Panic, okay.
OK? Épuisé,
So
résigné.
burnout,
Un
resigned.
petit peu, hein, de dire, des fois, on
Yes,
est en
maybe
mode
a bit.
survie.
Sometimes
On
we are in
s'accroche
survival
juste.
mode. We're just
Puis
hanging on,
on suit la route.
and
Puis
we're
on dit, OK, il
following
faut
the
juste
road,
s'accrocher. Puis à un moment
and
donné,
we just
on va
need to
peut-être
hang
finir par
on.
arriver.
And
Mais des fois, on peut se
at
sentir
one
un
point,
peu
we
en
are
mode
going to
survie. Donc,
arrive at
posez-vous juste la
destination, but
question,
sometimes we're in survival
mon
mode.
groupe de
So
travail,
ask yourself the question,
où on se situe le
your
plus
work
dans ces
group,
images-là.
where are you
Donc là, la question, c'est
situated
qu'est-ce
in
qu'on
all
fait
those
avec ça?
image? So the question is,
OK?
what do we
On a
do with
parlé
all
qu'on
of
vivait
this?
du stress.
So we talked
Qu'est-ce
about
qu'on fait avec ça?
living stress.
Comment on
What
réussit
do we
à prendre
do
un peu le
with that
contrôle
stress
de
and
notre
to take
stress?
control
Moi, je
of
vous
our
explique ça. Je vais
stress?
vous dire ce qu'on va
I'm
faire.
explaining that to you, and I'm
Je vais
going
vous
to tell you what we're going to do.
conceptualiser un peu le
I'm going
stress.
to conceptualize
Première étape
stress
pour mieux
for you. So
comprendre.
that's the first
Deuxième
step to
étape,
understand
regarder les
better what is
stratégies.
stress.
OK?
And
Donc, moi,
second step
j'utilise
would
beaucoup
be
des
to
analogies.
look
Puis le
for
stress, je
strategies.
compare ça un peu à
So
une
I
tasse de
use a
café.
lot of
OK?
analogies for
Donc,
stress, and I'm using a coffee mug here,
on est un
or a
peu
coffee cup.
tous comme une
We're
tasse de café.
probably all
OK?
like
Donc,
a
on a
coffee
des
cup.
petites
We
tasses,
have
puis on a
small
des
cups,
grandes tasses.
and you have
Donc, vous connaissez
greater
peut-être des
or
gens au
big cups.
travail
And
que
maybe
c'est
you
des
know
petites
people
tasses.
at work, they are
OK?
small
Il n'y a pas
cups,
beaucoup de
right?
place à mettre du
There's not a
stress.
lot of
Ça prend pas
space for stress.
grand-chose.
It doesn't
OK? Par
take
chez
a
nous,
lot
des fois, on les appelle
for
des
them.
paquets de nerfs.
Sometimes we
Moi,
call them like a
c'est dans le jargon
like
de par chez nous. Mais c'est juste de dire qu'ils sont nerveux.
it's
Hein?
hard to translate that
Ça prend
part.
pas
It's like
grand-chose,
they're
ils sont
really like
stressés.
nervous people, right?
Il y a des gens,
They're
à
scaredy cat a
l'inverse, c'est
bit.
des gros
And
stress.
to the opposite,
Ils sont
you
jamais
have
stressés,
big cups. They're never
ils prennent pas de
stressed. They seem
stress,
always calm,
rien les dérange.
and
OK?
nothing seems to
Mais êtes-vous
bother
d'accord
them.
que peu importe la
But
grosseur de la tasse, si je
are
la
you
vide
agreeing
jamais,
with me that
elle
regardless
finit pas
of
sa
the
remplir?
size of the
Êtes-vous
cup,
d'accord avec ça?
if you
OK?
never empty it,
Donc,
it's going to
le
be
travail numéro un,
full at one
c'est de
point,
vider
right?
notre cup.
So the work,
Plus il en
number one
rentre,
work that you need to do is
plus
emptying
il faut
your
que je la
cup.
vide.
More
OK?
you have
Donc, on peut débuter en se
stress
posant
in
la
your cup,
question,
the more you need
qu'est-ce
to
qu'on
empty
doit
it.
faire
So
comme
that's the
travailleur
start of
pour
the
vider
question
notre
here.
tasse?
What do you need
OK?
as a
Je peux
worker to
peut-être demander
empty out
encore de
your cup?
circuler ou juste de
And
dire à
maybe I
voix
can
haute,
ask
c'est quoi les différentes choses
the
qu'on peut
microphone to
faire là,
circulate,
pour
and
bien
or maybe
vider
we
notre
can say it
tasse régulièrement? Faut
just
pas laisser ça
loudly.
s'alourdir.
So what we can do
Pour dire d'autres
regularly
choses,
for not leaving our cup full and to empty it. Can you tell me some stuff?
OK?
Can you
Écrire.
just say it out
Extérioriser.
loud?
Quelqu'un qui a dit
So
rant,
write it,
OK?
exteriorize it, some
Communiquer ou verbaliser,
so
c'est
verbalized or
bien.
vent,
Moi,
right? Communicate.
rant, là, ma mère, elle me disait, tu as le droit à
Vent,
5
right?
minutes par jour.
My mom said to me,
Après ça,
you
c'est fini pour le
only
reste de la
allowed
journée. Ça
5
s'en le
minutes
lendemain.
to vent per day.
OK? Donc, si on a
And
besoin
after
de
that, it's
ventiler,
over for the rest of the
c'est
day.
correct.
You need
Après
to
5
keep it
minutes,
for the day after. So
c'est pas l'autre
it's
journée.
okay to vent, but
Parce
after
que la
5 minutes, you need
négativité,
to
ça tire du jus aussi.
keep that for
OK?
another day because it's
Autre chose qu'on peut
negative.
faire
So that's
pour
actually
vider notre
emptying,
tasse.
it's actually filling the cups of
Courir,
other
aller
people. So that's not
marcher,
good.
faire de l'activité
So
physique.
you can also run, you can do some
Respirer,
physical
oui, c'est
activities.
quelque
Yes,
chose
breathe.
d'essayé,
That's
mais qui
actually
calme notre
really
système
simple,
nerveux.
but it
Dormir,
calms our nervous system.
Comment
sleep.
de gens ont de la difficulté ou prennent
So,
des
how many
médicaments pour aider à
people
dormir?
have
Donc,
a hard
c'est toutes
time
des
to
choses
sleep? They
que
take
si on fait
medication
attention, on a une bonne hygiène de
to sleep.
sommeil, ça
So,
vide
if
notre
we're
corps.
careful and we have
Plein d'autres choses qu'on peut
a
faire
good
aussi, mais c'est juste
sleep
de prendre le
routine
concept.
or hygiene, that's actually good to
Mais
emptying our
qu'est-ce qui arrive
cups.
si, même
So,
si
what
je vide ma tasse,
happens
parce qu'il y a des
even
gens
if
qui
I'm
viennent dans mon
emptying my
bureau puis ils
cup,
disent, Claude,
but
je
there's
fais tout ça.
people
Je
coming
fais
in
de la
my
lecture avant d'aller me
office and
coucher,
they're saying, like,
je
Claude,
dors
I'm doing all of
bien,
this. I read
je fais de
before
l'activité
sleeping.
physique,
I
je
sleep
m'alimente
well.
bien,
I do
je fais tout
physical
ça, mais là, ma
activities.
tasse
I
est
do
pleine
sport.
pareil.
I eat well.
Mais là, je vous
But
présente le
my cup
deuxième
is
concept.
always
C'est qu'il y a
full.
deux chambelures.
So I'm actually
Une
going to present
champlure
to
d'eau
you the
froide
second
puis une
concept.
champlure d'eau chaude.
Um,
La champlure d'eau froide,
there's
ça,
two
c'est
faucet, right? One of
le
cold water and
stress
the other one is
quotidien qui se
hot
présente à
water.
nous sans
So
qu'on ait
you have
vraiment de
the daily
contrôle.
stress that's
Donc,
there
les tâches
in
au
your
travail,
life that you don't have
les
control of
imprévus,
over it. So you have
il
your
arrive
work task,
un drame à
the
l'école,
uh,
peu importe. C'est des choses qui vont se présenter à
everything
nous
that's
qu'on n'a pas demandé pour.
presenting to
Si
you
ma tasse est déjà
that you
pleine,
never asked for it. If your
puis il
cup
arrive
is
un
already
imprévu,
full
c'est sûr que ça
and
arrive.
there's something
Mais si
that
je garde ma tasse toujours à
is
moitié,
not
je la
expected
garde
that
toujours à
comes, it's
moitié, puis
actually
arrive un
going
imprévu,
to
parfait. On
overflow.
va
So if
l'adresser,
I'm
on va
keeping
bien
my
le gérer.
cup almost
OK?
like
Donc ça,
half
c'est l'eau
full,
froide.
then I have just a
L'eau
little bit of
chaude,
space for those
c'est
unforeseen
notre
events,
hamster.
right? So then you have
OK?
your
Donc, à
warm
toutes les fois qu'on a
water.
des pensées
That's our
négatives,
hamster.
peu
Every
importe
time
la
we
peur,
have negative
peur de ce que
thoughts,
les
every
gens
time
vont dire,
we
peur
have
de ne pas
fears,
réussir,
if we
peur
are
de
scared
manquer
of
de
what
temps,
people are going to
peur de
say,
pas... Toutes les
scared
fois qu'on
of
a
not
peur,
succeeding, scared of a
on
lack of
remplit notre
time,
tasse. Donc, qu'est-ce
every
qui
time that
arrive
we
si
are
je vide ma
scared, we are
tasse,
filling our
mais le
cup.
hamster tourne
So
beaucoup,
if you are emptying your
j'arrive
cup,
pas à
but the
faire
hamster
mes...
is always
OK?
turning,
Donc, ce qui
so
est
then I'm
important,
not
c'est
never
de
going to
deux
be
choses.
able to fully
Vider notre
empty it.
tasse. Un,
So
deux,
it's really important to
fermer la
empty your
champlure. Donc, il faut apprendre à
your cup, but
gérer
you also have to
ce
close the
hamster-là.
faucet
C'est
as
un peu ce
well.
qu'on
You have
travaille
to
comme psychologue,
learn
d'aider
to
les
manage
gens
the
à
hamster.
mieux
That's my
gérer
work
toutes ces
actually
pensées
as a
négatives-là qui
psychologist,
viennent
to
apporter du
help people
stress.
better manage those
Deuxième
negative
exemple,
thoughts that's actually bringing a lot of
analogie.
stress. So second example here would or an
Deuxième analogie,
analogy,
c'est un élastique.
it's
Donc, on
rubber
est
bands.
un peu tous comme un
So
élastique.
we're all a
On
little
a la
bit like a rubber
capacité
band. You have the
d'être
capacity
étiré.
of
Donc, parfois, on peut
stretching.
avoir 2, 3 grosses
And
semaines de
sometimes you
travail.
can have
Les
2 or 3
organisateurs
great
ici là,
work
de
weeks.
l'événement, ils ont peut-être
So
étiré
the
leur élastique
event
tranquillement. Les semaines
organizer for
préparatoires,
this
pendant
event,
les
they
journées
probably
ici,
stretched that
ils ont étiré
elastic a lot,
l'élastique.
right,
Mais ça, on est
before
capable de
this
le faire.
event. But
Notre
it's
corps est
okay. We're
capable de
able to
prendre
do
du
it.
stress.
Our body is able
Mais
to
qu'est-ce qui
take
arrive
that
si
stress.
j'étire,
But what happens if I'm
j'étire,
pulling on that rubber
puis je
band and I'm
rajoute d'autres
pulling
choses,
and
puis
I'm
j'étire
pulling and
encore?
there's always
À la
adding
longue,
things adding up.
soit que je vais devenir vraiment fatigué,
And
ou soit
either
que
I'm
l'élastique
gonna
va
become
lâcher.
really tired or
Donc, c'est correct de
the
tirer
rubber band is
l'élastique,
just
pas
gonna
absolument le
break, right?
relâcher
So
à
you
un
have
moment.
to
On
relax
doit
that
prendre une
rubber band at
pause
a
de
point. You need to
récupérer,
take a
que ce soit
break
la
to
fin de semaine,
recuperate, either
que ce
during the
soit
weekend
prendre des vacances, mais il faut
or
absolument trouver des
you need
moments
to take
où on
vacations, but you
relâche l'élastique.
absolutely need moments where you actually
Y a-t-il des gens
relax
en
that
levant la
rubber
main
band.
qui allent au gym,
Are
qui
there
font de la
people by
musculation
raising your hand
en
that
levant
are
la
going
main?
to the gym, that are
Un,
doing
deux,
muscle
trois,
training?
quelques
Raise your
personnes.
hand.
Quand
One,
on
two,
veut
three.
faire renforcer notre
So
muscle,
if we want to
qu'est-ce qu'on fait?
reinforce your muscles, what
Est-ce
do?
qu'on fait 5 journées
Do
complètes de
we
8
do
heures
5 complete a day
ou on
of
va au
8-hour
gym,
training,
on
or do we
fatigue notre
go to the
muscle,
gym? We're tiring our
on le
muscle a
laisse se
little bit.
reposer
Then
une
you
journée
let
ou
it
deux. Ça lui donne la chance de se
relax for a day or two
rétablir. Ensuite, on
to
retourne puis on lui
reestablish a
donne de
better,
nouveau des défis.
like to
OK?
actually
Donc, pour le corps humain, c'est la
reestablish
même
the
chose
muscle.
pour le psychologique.
And
C'est correct
then we can actually give them
d'avoir
a
des
new
défis, mais il
challenges.
faut
And
relâcher
for the human
aussi.
body, it's the same thing. It's the same thing for our psychology as well.
Donc,
It's
en termes
okay to
plus
have challenges, but
scientifiques,
we
là,
need
on
to relax
parle
as well.
de
So in
le
more
syndrome
scientific term,
général
we're talking
d'adaptation.
about
Donc, on est capable de
the
s'adapter.
the general
Donc, il nous
adaptation
arrive un
syndrome. So we're
défi, notre
able
corps
to
se
adapt ourselves.
mobilise,
We have a challenge, our
puis on est
body is
capable de se
mobilizing
mobiliser
itself,
pour un
and we
certain
are
temps.
able to do
Mais
it
le
for a certain
cortisol
amount
et
of time. But
l'adrénaline, c'est
cortisol
fait
and
pour
adrenaline,
rentrer dans
it's
le
made
système
to come
et
inside your
sortir du
system
système
and
pour
going
rester là
out of your
des
system, not to
semaines ou des
stay
mois
there for
et des
weeks
années.
on end
OK?
or
Donc,
even
qu'est-ce qui arrive
years.
si
So what
on affronte le
happens
défi et qu'on
if
n'arrive pas à le
you're
surmonter? Ben,
challenging
on devient un peu en mode
you're actually tackling that
résistance.
challenge,
détresse,
and
ben
we're not
allons, si
able to
l'on
actually
corrige
go,
pas le tir,
face
on finit
it,
par cette
and we
on
are
parle de
resisting mode,
burn-out,
and we're in
on parle
distress,
d'épuisement
and
professionnel.
then we can talk about burnout, professional burnout.
Donc, ce que j'aimerais qu'on fasse,
So what
c'est
I
qu'à
would
notre
like to
table, pour le
do
prochain 3
at our
minutes,
table for the next
j'aimerais ça
3
qu'on
minutes,
réfléchisse à
I
des
would like
stratégies
for us
gagnantes.
to reflect
Peut-être des
on
choses que vous
winning
faites déjà au
strategies,
travail.
maybe things that you're already doing at work,
Peut-être des
best
choses que
practices,
vous dites on le fait pas, mais
maybe
ça on devrait peut-être
things
le
you're
faire.
saying that
Donc, qu'est-ce qui est
we're
possible,
not doing it,
disons, au
but maybe we
travail?
should. So,
À
what
quoi
is
faire qui
possible at work
favoriserait une
that you
meilleure
could do
gestion de notre stress?
to have
OK?
a
Fait que
better
juste un petit
stress
2-3
management?
minutes. On
So,
le fait
maybe
en
two
petit
or
groupe,
3 minutes
après ça,
in
on va
small
rapporter
groups,
peut-être
and then we
3,
can
4
have a
exemples au
spokesperson
micro.
to bring
Donc,
3
je
or 4
donne,
examples
je
at
mets
the
mon
microphone. So,
timer,
I'm
3
putting my
minutes,
timer
on
on.
discute
So, 3 minutes,
en petit groupe,
let's discuss
puis on
in the
ramène
small
ça en
groups,
grand groupe
and
par la
let's
suite.
bring
Fait
that
que
back up
quelles
to
sont
the
les
bigger group.
stratégies gagnantes?
So, what
Qu'est-ce
are
qu'on peut
the
faire
winning strategies?
pour
What can
mieux
we
gérer
do
le
at
stress?
work to better manage your stress?
Les gens à la maison, je vous demande de faire un peu la même chose, là,
People at
d'identifier
home, please do
quelques
the
stratégies
same
que vous pensez qu'on
thing.
devrait peut-être
Identify a few
implanter.
strategies that you think that we should implant.
Revenir en grand groupe.
Okay, so let's come back as a group.
Donc, nos intelligents,
So
nos
the
intelligents
smart,
sexy,
intelligent
je suis
people,
certain que vous
the
avez
sexy
des
people,
super idées.
I'm sure
des
you
super
have
idées de comment
great
mieux
ideas
gérer notre
on
stress au
how we
travail.
can better manage stress in the workplace.
Donc, est-ce qu'il y en a en levant la main qui veulent
So by
partager,
raising your
qui
hand,
veulent partager peut-être une stratégie,
does anyone want to
quelque
share
chose qui est applicable?
strategy or
Ce
something
que
that
je vous
you can
demanderais, dans le fond, c'est
apply?
de venir noter. Si vous avez des
And
stratégies que vous
if you have
trouvez intéressantes,
strategies
de venir
that you
noter
think
dans
are
votre petite
interesting,
boîte à
please
outils. Parfait.
come
Donc, tout le monde en écoute.
write them down in your toolkit. Let's listen.
So we talked about the idea of sharing information with our team, like what happened, but also having a dedicated time to do that. You know, not like in the hallway, but every third Friday we all make time to go together, you know, and have those discussions. And then we also talked about having the processes defined of, you know, what happens when we do this and what, you know, what are we supposed to do now, and having those things very, very defined so that you can manage those crisis situations.
Super idée. Super idée de prendre le
Excellent
temps
idea.
et deux, de se
First, to
regrouper
have a
ensemble pour
designated
discuter
time,
ou
and then
partager
to
ou
meet,
échanger la force
to share,
de l'équipe.
exchange.
C'est différent de se sentir
The
seul et
strength
de
of a
porter
team is
nos
different
inquiétudes, etc.
than when you
Donc, une super équipe
worry
pour
alone.
favoriser une
So
meilleure gestion de stress.
great working as a team to
Avoir un
better
temps de
manage
rencontre.
stress,
Y
have a
a-t-il d'autres,
designated meeting
suggestions,
time.
idées ou
Are
stratégies
there other
gagnantes?
suggestions for winning strategies or
Je me pose
ideas?
la question de est-ce que je risque quelque chose
I'm
de grave
wondering
et puis est-ce que je peux agir sur
if I'm
cette
risking
situation
something serious, and can I act on the situation?
Donc,
In
la
general,
stratégie,
when I
c'est
ask those
est-ce que
questions, that helps
c'est
me
dans mon contrôle?
de-stress or
Donc,
stress less.
de lâcher
Good.
prise,
Okay, so
parfois,
wonder
c'est de dire, est-ce
what's
que
in your
est-ce que ça m'appartient?
control
Est-ce que j'ai un
to
contrôle sur la situation?
detach,
Est-ce que je peux faire quelque chose?
to identify
Ou non?
whether you have a control in the situation,
certain
to know if you
lâcher
can do
prise, ça
something
vient
or
justement
not. So
aider.
a certain
Donc, se poser des
detachment,
questions
yes,
peut
that
être
helps.
positif.
So asking
Alors,
yourself
peut-être deux,
these
trois
questions
autres
can be
stratégies
positive.
ou idées.
Okay, so maybe
Je vous
two other
présenterai celles que j'ai mis
strategies
au
or
écrit.
ideas, and then I'll share the
Y a-t-il d'autres
ones
gens qui ont
that are on
d'autres
my
stratégies ou
documents.
idées pour
So,
favoriser une meilleure gestion de stress?
does anyone have other strategies or
Concrètement, dans les milieux
ideas
de
to
travail, pour être
favor
plus
stress management on the workplace, in the workplace?
Sur des tâches complexes, on peut
So
splitter
on
les
with
tâches
complex
en sous-tâches
tasks,
pour
you
réduire la charge de
can
stress, puis
divide
certaines,
them in
tâches qui peuvent être
subtasks
repoussées
to
afin de trouver une
reduce
stratégie,
stress. You
pratique,
can
la mettre en
schedule
œuvre dans des
some
conditions
of it for
optimales.
later to
Donc,
find a better
prioriser,
strategy.
puis aussi
Okay,
déléguer.
so
C'est un peu les deux choses qu'on a
prioritize and
mentionnées. Donc,
delegate
les rencontres, si
things.
on fait
Yes.
des rencontres, ça peut permettre
So
justement cette
if we have
discussion-là,
meetings, we can
de dire, OK, ça, on pourrait
discuss
faire plus
these
tard, ou ça,
things.
je
What can
vais m'en
we
occuper, moi, j'ai un peu plus de
push
possibilités
back
de
for
donner un coup de main
later, or
là-dessus.
identify
Donc,
if there's
vraiment,
people
bonne
who
idée.
can help on certain
Peut-être une
aspects?
dernière.
Great idea.
OK,
So
on a
maybe
quelqu'un
one
ici.
last
Dernière, puis on va pouvoir
share. Okay, we
avancer
have
avec
someone
la
here,
suite.
and then we can continue.
Thank you. Someone else at our group suggested that making sure your work environment is bright colored or positive with pictures of your family, just trying to make sure that your space gives you good energy, I guess.
Super. Donc, ça, c'est quelque chose que souvent on a un petit peu de contrôle
Great.
dessus.
Yeah, that's something that usually we have a bit of control over, to beautify or create a certain energy in our workspace. In the toolkit, what I wrote comes back to what we spoke about a bit, but 3 protected priorities. So know what to prioritize. In a little meeting, we can identify the top 3 essential priorities. Where do we focus? What's most important? Where do we put our energy in all this chaos? What is overwhelming for us right now? And can we find solutions to reduce this overwhelm? Can we push back certain things? Instead of trying to do everything at once, we can push back some things till later, so that we are more efficient on things that are higher priority. So this group discussion can help you reduce chronic surcharge overwhelm. And we feel less alone when we decide this as a team. Now, we'll speak about helping others without burning out. Someone mentioned earlier that we are exposed to so much information. Sometimes it's a bit heavy. There's personal stories, the challenges that these people are experiencing. So we speak about compassion fatigue. What's that? That is exposed when you're exposed repeatedly to others' suffering. When you're exposed repeatedly, okay, well, once is fine, twice is fine, but if you're exposed regularly to other people's suffering, this can be an emotional weight on us. This one can weigh on us. So compassion fatigue, the first people who spoke of this were teachers and nurses. In these 2 professions, people started talking about this. So what are the characteristics of our work that make it so that we may develop compassion fatigue? So we're exposed to the stress, the heavy stories, and we'd like for them to be these stories to be different. We would like to help these people more, but there are limits, and it can be difficult. We have an internal conflict. Like there's this feeling, oh, I want to do something, but maybe I can't. There's also characteristics relating to the worker, the person. So someone who's very, very empathic is more at risk. Someone who is hypersensitive is more at risk. Someone who wants to help so much, who gives so much and forgets about themselves is more at risk. Someone who takes on other people's problem on their shoulders, like it becomes their problem, this person will be more at risk. Someone who's very demanding among themselves, they'll be more at risk. Or someone who also had a difficult past, they'll resonate. It's called resonating. So because they experienced something very difficult, it's very hard for them to listen to stories that are similar, and they really want to make a difference. With disruption indices, what's this? We'll have less emotional, less caring because we were just overwhelmed. We might have issues like we want to rebel against the system because we say, oh, this is not okay. We'll be maybe more irritable. So these are all emotional things that we'll see. At the cognitive level, well, we might doubt ourselves, our judgment could be affected, we may make decisions we might not have made otherwise. And on the physical level, it can be a lot of fatigue, insomnia, stomach aches, headaches, things like that. So I would ask you to take just 15 seconds to identify the people who you work with, people who are under your charge, people who report to you, excuse me, if you're a leader, and try to identify them in your head. So we all have a mental health, a psychological health, and we are all located on a continuum that starts in crisis, where anxiety is very high, where you're exhausted, all the way to excelling in your work. I'm full of energy, things are going well, I'm performing. So we're all on this continuum. You can ask, where am I? What color am I? What color represents me? Think also people who report to you, your employees, where are they? And as a leader, are there things I can do to bring them closer to green? So it's just some awareness here of your role regarding your own health, but also your team's health. We always want to be closer to green. So what are the processes involved with compassion fatigue? So first is empathy versus sympathy. These two words may be similar, but empathy is the ability to understand what another person is experiencing, to feel what they are experiencing, but while remaining aware that the emotion is theirs and not mine. So there's an emotional distance between what they are experiencing and my ability to understand or feel some emotions. Sympathy is when you're experiencing the same thing, the same suffering, the same sadness, when the person explains it to you. So it's like you don't have the distance, the understanding that the person has their own life, their own challenges, their own emotions, their own path. I can influence it, but everyone has their own path, and some things are not mine. They don't belong to me, and it's the ability to differentiate between these two things. So the framework now, if it's poorly defined, if you don't know where your boundaries are, when you don't know what your role is, you're going to be more exposed to risk fatigue. And you have to do prevention work. If my role is not clear and I'm like a handyman, I'm doing everything, I'm like the psychologist, nurse, translator, I'm doing everything, this can be exhausting. And if we do a poor application of self-care, for example, if my work is very difficult, but I do nothing to empty my cup from the stress, over time, there's going to be some erosion here. So you have to know yourself, your emotion, your reality. Does anyone sometimes act as a savior? Sometimes you've seen people who become like a Superman or Superwoman, and you go a bit outside of your role when you do that. A support network can favor you when you have a good support network. If you don't have people you can talk to, this does affect compassion fatigue. So I just want us to chat together quickly about what we can do. What do you think we can do to favor or avoid exhaustion, burnout? So we have a few tools, some ideas. Can people identify one or two things that you can apply in your workspace and to avoid that your employees, your workers, succumb to this compassion fatigue? Do you have any ideas? If not, I'll share some.
L'éducation. Donc là, je vous parle
So,
de fatigue de compassion, mais
education.
si vos
So I started speaking of compassion fatigue, but if your own workers are well educated, they understand what compassion fatigue is, they understand limits and boundaries, this can be helpful. There are complete training that can be offered on this issue. In your toolkit, there's a little exercise to help you identify the framework. So you draw a box, and inside it, you talk about your role, your mission. And so inside it, you can visually identify what's part of your tasks, your role. And there's a little gray area that can sometimes contain things that are in the gray area of what your roles are. And outside of the box are things that are clearly outside of your role, that things that I should avoid taking on. So with having this visual aid, you can better define a framework and have a clearer image. So if you have a team meeting, this is the kind of thing you can work on. Say we can map our role, our framework. It's pretty simple.
Si on parle de résilience, la meilleure façon
if we talk about resilience, the best way to do so is with a little video. Here we see a little baby bear who has this big challenge to go up this mountain, and it's a lot of effort. Maybe you're the mama bear at the top. You're the leader who encourages them to do this, and the reality is, even if you work hard, you might not always succeed. You might slip a bit before you have to start over. So I'm talking about strategies here. So he started on a path that was easier because it already had some people who bears who had walked on it, but because life is unfair, sometimes you can slip anyway. Maybe you have health issues, health challenges, and you fall really low. But what's resilience? It means I'm hanging on. Here he found something hard, rock, something that's harder. So he's saying, one step at a time, I'll continue. Even if it's not easy, if it's far away, I'm not giving up. I'm continuing. I continue to be resilient. And with the mama bear at the top, who's encouraging the baby, saying, oh, you can do it. That makes all the difference. Maybe you have a mama bear, a leader, or a coach, a person who inspires you. And you can be their mama bear too. You can be someone else's mama bear. So, with a little bit of perseverance, you can do it.
Ça nous permet d'avancer vers des nouvelles aventures.
You can move on to new adventures.
C'est le processus dynamique.
So resilience is the dynamic process that involves positive adaptation in the context of adversity. So there is adversity, but what matters is that you can adapt. You find ways to adapt and not give up. Charles Darwin used to say, and unfortunately, or intelligent people, it's not the strongest or smartest of the species that will survive, but the one most responsive to change, the one who can adapt to change. So we have to favor our workers' ability to adapt. How can they adapt to challenges, to realities? This will make the difference. If you are in resistance, you will become exhausted. But if you're positive and always adapting, you'll have more chances that things will go well.
Comment on peut s'adapter?
So how can we adapt? How can we support our staff in the adaptation process?
Un petit outil dans votre boîte à
So
outils, là.
there's a little tool for this in your
C'est la
toolkit.
présentation d'histoires à succès.
It's the presentation of success stories. So what we can do is when there are successes, you have to share them. You have to talk about them, highlight them, to show people that we can do it, even if it's small victories. This encourages our staff, raises energy levels, and highlights the work that was done by them. But it's easy. Maybe before each meeting or once a month, whatever, you highlight the good, the achievements, the good things that were done. So that's a little tool that you can easily implement.
Si on parle de leadership.
If we speak about leadership,
moi j'aime bien Simon Sinek.
I like Simon Sinek. He's American author and speaker. He says leadership is not about being in charge. Leadership is about taking care of those in our charge. If you take care of your people, you will favor engagement, trust. The more you take care of your people, the harder they will work. So it's important to go in this direction, to have a human leadership, to be caring towards people who work really hard to make things work. Can you name a human leader who has human quality, who's caring? What's their characteristics of a person like this? So, a leader who's inspiring to you, that you can say, I want to be more like them. So, empathic, caring, yes. Someone who listens, kind. So, not only listening when we speak, but also someone who can listen to non-verbal language. They can notice if you're tired, they'll say, oh, is there something I can do to help you? That they don't just wait for you to go knock at their door. Anything else that can define a very a leader with a lot of empathy, very human person? So, support, yes. Someone who's positive, yes. Good question here. There was a study done. What is the ratio versus positive comments we should share versus criticism? So as a leader, how often should you say positive things versus critical things to have balance? 10 to 1? That's good if you can do 10, but the ratio is 5. You have to identify 5 qualities, strengths, 5 good things versus 1 criticism. If you're able to do that, things will go well. If it's in your nature to be positive, you might do a 10 to 1 ratio. So you have to recognize the strengths of your employees. Maybe they don't have strengths in all sectors, but some that can be highlighted. Great leaders explain their why, what's the meaning of their work, the value of their work. It's not just for peace to check some boxes, but it's for a greater meaning. to identify
Les grands leaders, ils s'assurent qu'il y a une
the value of
sécurité
things.
psychologique au travail.
They make
Donc, que
sure
les employés se
there's
sentent
psychological
en
safety
sécurité,
at work, that their
se sentent
employees
pas
feel
intimidés,
safe
se
at work,
sentent
they
pas
don't feel
toujours
intimidated,
critiqués ou se sentent pas, ils ont peur de perdre
they don't
leur
always
emploi ou des
feel
choses comme ça. Donc, c'est de créer
criticized,
un environnement
they,
où il y a pas
they
trop de
won't
jugement,
be
qui soit
afraid
bien,
of
que c'est
losing
sécurisé.
their job, that there's no
Donc,
judgment,
au
that
niveau
they
de votre
just
boîte à
feel safe.
outils,
So with your
comment être un
toolkit
leader bienveillant, j'ai marqué
on how to be a kind
prendre un
leader,
moment pour s'informer de chaque employé.
I wrote,
Donc, moi, quand
take
je
a
travaillais au centre de
moment
santé mentale,
to inform yourself about how each
ma
employee
boss,
is
mon,
going. When
mon
I was
patron,
working at the mental health
quand elle
center,
arrivait
my
le matin, elle faisait le tour
boss,
des bureaux.
when she arrived in the morning,
Elle a
she
juste
would
dit, ah,
go
allô,
around
ça va, t'as
all
passé une belle
offices.
journée
She would just
hier.
say, hi, how was your day yesterday?
Elle prenait un petit moment juste pour
She would
connecter
take a moment just to
avec les
connect
employés. C'est simple,
with all
mais c'est
employees.
une bonne pratique.
Simple,
De
but
dire, je
it's a
prends
good
un moment juste
practice.
pour
Just to take a
connecter,
moment
juste pour
to
voir comment tu
connect,
vas. Fait qu'on apprend à
to see
connaître
how
nos
people are
employés, puis les
doing.
employés commencent, ils voient qu'on care aussi pour eux.
That way,
Donc,
our employees see that we care about them.
prendre le temps,
So
en d'autres
taking
mots, c'est mon conseil là, pour votre
time
boîte à outils.
to do this. This is my advice in your toolkit.
Donc, on a parlé d'être positif.
So
Donc, la prochaine
we
section,
talked
c'est
about
rester
staying
positif.
positive.
Votre attitude est déterminante. Vous
The
savez, on a
next
toujours
section
deux
is
choix.
about this, about how your attitude would
Devant
will
chaque
determine
situation,
things.
on
We
a le
always
choix
have
d'être
two
positif
choices
et de
in
le
front of
voir
every
sous cet
situation.
angle-là,
You can
ou
choose
le
to
choix
be
de tomber dans le
positive,
négatif,
choose that angle
puis
to
de
perceive
réagir de
things,
cette
or
façon-là. Donc,
to see
ça
it
vous
with a
appartient ce
negative
choix-là. On en est
perspective
responsable.
and be negative. This is your
Vous
choice.
avez
You're
peut-être déjà vu ça
responsible
dans votre
for this
frigo.
choice. You might have seen this
À un
in your
moment donné que vous
fridge.
étiez pressé puis qu'on n'avait pas le temps.
At one point, if you're
C'est un effet de
busy,
contamination puis ça va dans les deux sens.
this it
C'est-à-dire,
can
si je
happen.
suis
This is a
négatif puis je suis critique,
contamination
je
effect.
vais contaminer les gens qui m'entourent.
So if you're
Mais
negative,
l'inverse est
critical,
aussi vrai.
you're
Si je suis positif,
contaminate
puis je
people
suis
around you. But
dans cette
the
attitude-là
opposite is true as well. If
résilience, de
you're
motivation, je
positive,
vais
I'm
aussi
in
contaminer
this
mon équipe.
attitude of
Donc, je vous
motivation,
encourage à faire ce
resilience,
choix-là,
you'll contaminate
d'essayer
your
d'être
team
le
as
plus
well.
souvent
So I
possible.
encourage
C'est
you,
comme ça que notre
as much as
atmosphère de
possible,
travail, puis même si c'est difficile,
to
là,
choose
notre
this.
atmosphère, notre environnement va
I
se
know this
porter
can be
bien
hard,
et notre
but
santé
this
mentale aussi.
will really help the atmosphere
Donc,
at work and
est-ce
your
que le fait
mental
d'être
health as
positif
well. So
permet de nous éviter
if
toutes les
you
épreuves?
remain positive, will
Non.
this
Je peux être le plus positif.
make us avoid
Il va se présenter
all
quand même des
challenges?
épreuves, parfois
No.
des épreuves que je me dis, oh, les,
I can be
comment
positive
est-ce qu'on
and
va faire
sometimes
pour
I
surmonter ça?
may have to
Je suis
face
tout
challenges,
petit,
some of
puis
them
le système ou
very
le
big.
problème est vraiment gros. Comment je peux faire
I'm
pour
very
l'aider?
small,
OK.
the problem
Mais le
or
fait
the
d'être positif,
system
ça
is
va nous
really
aider
big. So how
à
can I
trouver les
do
solutions.
this?
Ça va nous aider à figurer les choses
So being
et
positive
surtout
can
à
help us
pas
find
abandonner.
solutions and not
Est-ce que la
give up.
vie est juste?
Is life fair?
La vie n'est pas juste, hein?
Life
Pas de
is
vélo,
not fair.
pas de natation, puis pas de
So
ski.
no dogs, no
Ça
bikes,
change
no
un peu ses
swimming.
plans dans la journée.
That really changes her plans,
Mais
doesn't
la
it?
vie n'est pas juste. Et
But
plus on accepte ça
life is
rapidement,
unfair.
mieux on
And
peut faire
the quicker
face
you
à
accept
la vie.
that, the quicker you
Parce que
can
on va être continuellement
just
confronté.
live life because you'll always be confronted
Est-ce que
to
vous
these
suivez les
things.
Olympiques un peu là?
Are you following the
En ce
Olympics a
moment-ci,
bit?
là, hein, levant la main, y en a-tu qui suivent les Olympiques?
Raise your hand
Qui avaient
if you
l'occasion
are.
de regarder un petit
Do you
peu?
like it?
Ben, en 92, en Barcelone,
In
il est arrivé quelque
92,
chose
in
de
Barcelona,
assez spectaculaire
something
qui m'a
spectacular
marqué, puis
happened.
j'espère qu'il va vous rester dans votre mémoire.
This really stayed with me, and I hope
C'est Derek Redmond, qui était un
you'll
favori
resonate with
pour
this
gagner
as well.
une
Derek
course.
Redmond
Puis
was
on
favored
va
to
mettre
win
la
a
vidéo, puis je
race.
vous laisse la
We'll watch a
regarder,
video.
on va en
I'll let
jaser
you watch
un peu
it,
après.
and then we can speak about it.
cannot fail. When you don't give up, you cannot fail.
On ne peut pas échouer.
Ce vidéo-là, il me rejoint beaucoup.
This video,
Je le
it
vois
gets me
aussi
to the
par rapport
heart.
à la santé psychologique.
And I see it even in
Parfois, là,
psychological health.
Tout va bien dans notre vie.
Sometimes
on a atteint nos
everything goes
objectifs,
well in
on a
life
l'impression
and
de
we've
notre
reached our
travail,
goals.
de notre
We
petite famille.
feel like even
Tout se
at
passe comme
work,
sur des
we
roues.
have the family and everything is
Du jour
going
au
well.
lendemain,
And then
bang,
one day, bang,
on s'effondre. Ça peut être une
everything
séparation,
crumbles down.
ça peut
It
être
could
le
be
décès
a
d'une personne qu'on
separation,
aime,
could be
ça
a
peut
death
être,
of someone
la
that's
maladie,
close to us.
ça
It
peut
could
être
be
une perte d'emploi,
disease.
ça
It
peut
could be a
être, il y
lost
a quelque chose qui nous
job.
arrive, puis on se sent un peu comme Derek.
Something happens and we
s'effondre
feel
au
like
sol,
Derek.
on
You crumble
pleure,
down on the
on a
ground,
mal.
you cry,
On a
you
toujours
hurt.
deux choix.
We always
On peut
have two
rester là à
choices.
pleurer,
You can
ou on
stay
peut faire
there
comme
and cry,
Derek,
or you
se
can
relever, puis même si
do
ça
just
fait
like
mal,
Derek,
un pas à
get
la
back up
fois,
even if it hurts, one
avancer.
step at a time,
Ce qui est beau
and
dans
go
ce vidéo-là,
forward.
c'est qu'il accepte de
What's
l'aide,
beautiful in this video
parce
is
que
that
c'est son père.
he,
C'est
in this
toujours
case,
facile
it's his
d'accepter de
father.
l'aide.
It's not
Je
always
travaille avec
easy
des
to accept
entreprises,
help.
je travaille avec des gens, puis les gens sont
I work
hésitants
with companies
à
and
demander de l'aide. Mais le
people,
fait d'accepter de
and
l'aide, ça
people
peut faire toute la
hesitate to ask for
différence.
help.
Ça nous donne
But asking for
l'espoir,
help can
ça
make
nous
all
aide
the
à
difference.
continuer d'avancer.
It represents hope.
Ça peut être un
It helps
voisin,
us go
ça peut être
forward.
un collègue de travail.
It can be a
À
neighbor,
l'inverse, ça peut
a
être vous qui
colleague,
offrez de l'aide à quelqu'un.
but you can also offer
Mais
help to
ça nous
someone.
permet d'avancer vers la ligne d'arrivée.
This
Puis à un moment
enables
donné,
us
on
to
voit la
advance
ligne,
towards the finish
puis
line.
on se dit, ah ben je vais être capable
And
finalement.
at some point, you see the
Puis
line and you
on est
can
capable de
tell
traverser la
yourself,
ligne,
oh, I'll
puis
be able to do
on
that.
voit qu'après la
I'll
ligne, il y a
get there.
d'autres choses.
And once you
Peu
cross
importe
the
le
line,
défi
you
qu'on a
can see
rencontré,
there's something else.
peu importe la peine qu'on a vécue,
Even with the challenges you've lived
il y a d'autres
through,
choses par après.
there's
Les
something
gens
else
qui
after.
souvent vont penser au suicide,
People
ils
that
vont se
will
sentir un peu
that think
comme
about
ça,
suicide,
puis il faut qu'ils
they'll
se
feel
rendent à
like
la
that.
ligne. Il faut les
And they
aider
need
à
to
se rendre
reach
à la
that
ligne,
line.
parce que
We need
après
to
la
help
ligne,
them to
il
reach
y a
the
toute une
line.
vie qui les attend.
Because after
OK?
that line,
Fait que
there's a
c'est ça pour
whole
faire un
another,
clin
there's a
d'œil
whole other
justement
life
à la
that is
santé
awaiting
mentale.
them.
Puis c'est une vidéo, je pense qu'on
So
arrive à
this is a
bien
video
se
on
souvenir.
mental health, and I think that it helps us to remember of what it says.
Nos attentes par rapport à la vie.
Our expectations towards life.
Dans la case d'en haut, hein, on a des attentes que ça va se
Oftentimes
passer
we're
de telle
at the
façon.
top here,
Mais la vie, elle répond
and
pas
we
toujours à
expect
nos
things to go a
attentes.
certain way, but life
Souvent,
doesn't
ben, la
doesn't
majorité
meet
du
our
temps, ça se passe comme
expectations.
en bas.
The
Mais s'il y a
majority
quelque
of the
chose dans votre
time,
travail,
it's the bottom
vous avez
picture that
peut-être des
happens.
objectifs de
So even if
réaliser
you
telle
in your
chose,
work,
d'aider
maybe you have
telle personne
objectives
à
or
réaliser
goals,
telle chose.
and you want to help
En
people
cours
to
de
do
route, il va se
things,
passer plein de choses.
but along the way,
Le
a
plus
lot
vite
of
on
things will
accepte que la
happen.
vie est comme ça,
And
plus on va être résilient,
as
parce
soon
qu'à
as you
chaque
can
fois qu'on va
accept
avoir un
that life
obstacle,
is
on va
like
dire,
that, then you
c'est
will have
normal, ça fait
resilience
partie
because
du
every time
processus.
there's an obstacle,
Au
you'll
lieu
tell yourself,
d'être
this is
ébranlé,
normal, it's part of the process.
d'être découragé,
And
frustré.
instead of crumbling down or be discouraged or frustrated, you keep going forward.
Votre attitude prend racine dans votre dialogue
Your
interne.
attitude takes
qu'on se dit
root
dans
in
notre
your
tête,
self-talk. What you tell
c'est
yourself
hyper important.
is
Comment
extremely
vous pensez
important.
qu'on a de pensées par jour?
How many thoughts do you think we
Est-ce
have
des gens qui peuvent
per
donner un
day?
chiffre?
Can you shout out some numbers?
Combien de pensées par jour?
How many thoughts per day?
200?
200?
500?
500?
1000?
1,000?
70 000 autres. Si le café sortait, ou quelque chose.
70,000. Here, if there's a
Ouais,
coffee
non,
here,
les études
get
scientifiques,
take the
là,
coffee
avec
out. But we have scientific studies
l'imagerie cérébrale.
with
Dans les années
the
2000, on était
cerebral
capable de voir des
images
connexions
in
dans notre
the
cerveau. Quand
2000s.
on a une pensée,
We were able to see that the
on voit
connections
la
in the
connexion se
brain,
produire. On est
we
capable
can see the
d'extrapoler
connection
un peu dans une
happen.
journée.
We've been
Puis on dit
able
qu'on a
to
3200
evaluate what could be
pensées en
happening in the
moyenne
day, and we
par
have
jour.
an average of
Qu'est-ce qui arrive si
3,200 thoughts
80% de tes
per
pensées-là
day.
sont négatives?
What happens if 80% of
Si
that is negative?
80% des 3200
This is
pensées sont
80% of that
Ça l'affecte nos
3,200 thoughts that
émotions,
are
ça l'affecte
negative.
notre
It
existence,
affects
ça
our
l'affecte notre
emotions, our
physique. Donc, le
existence,
fait de penser
our
positif,
physical.
ou le fait d'avoir un
So the
discours
fact of
intérieur,
thinking positive thoughts and to have a positive interior conversation can make a
Évidemment, on a
big
tous des
difference on our
blocages,
psychological
on a
health.
tous des peurs.
We all stumble on things, we all
Ça va
block
pas
on some things,
marcher,
are
je suis pas
afraid of
capable,
things, we have limiting
peu importe,
thoughts,
on a des
it's
pensées
not going to
comme ça.
work, I won't be able, it doesn't matter. We have them.
Mais Jim Rohn nous dit,
But
si tu veux vraiment faire
Jim
quelque
Rohn
chose,
tells
tu vas
us
trouver
if
une
you
façon.
really want to do something,
Si tu
you
veux
will
pas
find a
vraiment,
way.
tu vas trouver une excuse.
If you don't really want to, you'll find an excuse.
C'est vrai. Hein,
And that's
comment
true.
souvent qu'on est coincé coincés dans nos excuses.
Oftentimes we are stuck in our excuses.
Faut être proactif.
We need to
Faut
find
être-
ways. We
faut être
need
centré
to be
sur les
proactive
solutions.
and be centered on solutions.
Henry Ford a dit,
Henry Ford
si tu crois que
said,
tu en es capable,
whether you think
ou
you
si tu crois
can
que tu en es
or you
incapable,
think you
dans
can't,
les deux cas, tu as raison.
in both cases you're
Nos
right.
croyances
What we believe
vont
in
façonner notre réalité.
will shape our
Donc, ce qu'on
reality.
croit, ça va
What
faire une
we
différence
believe
dans ce qu'on
will make a
réalise.
difference in what we accomplish.
Donc, moi, j'aime bien cette image-là, de dire, ici, c'est notre zone de confort.
Even here we can say
mais
this is
là,
our
c'est où la
comfort
magie se
zone,
produit.
but this is where the magic
De
happens.
sortir de notre zone de confort.
So getting out of that
Donc,
comfort
pour la
zone.
prochaine activité,
So for the next activity,
je suis pas sûr qu'il y a quelqu'un dans la salle qui est assez
I'm not sure if
courageux.
there's someone in the
Mais
room that
j'aurais
has
besoin d'un
enough
volontaire.
courage, but
Un
I
volontaire
would
là,
need a volunteer.
qui est extrêmement courageux.
Someone who has a lot of courage.
J'ai une boîte. Il y a quelque
I have a
chose à
box.
l'intérieur. Donc, je vais
And
demander
there's
à cette
something
personne-là,
inside.
à l'aveugle, là,
I will
de
ask
mettre la
that
main dans la
person,
boîte, mais vous
without
savez, pour la
seeing,
seule
to put
chose
their
que je vous
hands
dis,
in the box.
ça prend beaucoup de courage.
It
OK?
takes a lot of courage.
J'ai cette madame-là en orange.
I
là, qui
have
a levé
this
la main
lady
en
here
premier.
in orange that raised her hand first.
On l'applaudit
Please,
parce que je peux
a
vous
round of
dire
applause,
qu'elle est courageuse.
because I can tell you she has a lot of courage.
Merci.
I speak English.
English, no problem. What's your name?
Cody.
Akodi.
Yeah, my pronouns are they, them.
They, them?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Very courageous. I have a waiver, but I forgot it in the room. So trust me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so what I'll ask you to do, without looking, you're going to put your hand in it.
Sure.
Be careful. When you get to the bottom, be careful. When you get to the bottom, took what's there, bring it out.
Okay.
But just be cautious, okay? She's very courageous. Okay, what's in there, you could keep.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So let me take your mic. Look what's in it. It's yours.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll just keep the box for the next presentation. But you can keep the $50. The only thing I ask you,
Sure.
I would really like you use it to do something that's going to be good for your health.
Okay.
Okay, so whatever, for your mental health, physical health, whatever, try to use it for something that's going to boost your energy.
Yesterday I wanted to go to the Trident Cafe,
Okay.
but I didn't want to spend my money, but now I have like free money so I can go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alors, la morale de cette histoire,
The moral of this story,
quand on ose,
when we have the audacity to go forward,
ça aurait pu être,
we never know.
bien
Just the
d'autres
fact
choses.
of
Mais le fait
just the
d'oser,
fact of doing it,
ça crée une
when we dare,
opportunité. On a peut-être
when we
l'opportunité
dare
de découvrir
creates
quelque chose de très
opportunities.
bien.
Maybe
c'est
the
un peu pour
opportunity to
illustrer
discover
ça.
something very good.
Je vous ai dit,
I
je
did that
croyais
to
dans les
illustrate that
deuxièmes
fact.
chances.
I
Donc,
told you
aurait-il
I
un autre
believed in second
volontaire?
chances. Do we have another volunteer?
Non, sérieusement. OK? Donc,
No, seriously,
si vous souhaiteriez
if
avoir
you
un
would
50
like to have
pour
a 50
faire
bucks
quelque chose pour votre mieux-être,
to do something
je vous
for your
demande juste
well-being,
une chose.
I ask only
Envoyez un
one thing of you.
courriel
Please send an email to
à
Claude Beaulieu
imagigo.ca,
at
puis dites-moi, Claude,
imagigo.ca
avec les 50
and tell me, Claude, with
j'aimerais
the
faire
$50,
telle activité.
I would like to do
Okay.
such and such
demain,
activity.
J'aurai tout reçu.
Tomorrow, I will have received all the emails
Donc,
and
vous
I
enverrez
will
par
do a sweepstake.
e-transfer à votre courriel, le 50
It will be sent
donc,
via
pour découvrir la
e-transfer
chance,
to your email of $50.
c'est très
So
simple.
if you want to take the chance to win $50, just send me an email with what you would like to do, and it'll be completely random. Because it would be interesting to see what people want to do for their well-being, and it will provoke some reflection in you. So I'll be happy to send you another $50.
OK. Donc, j'aimerais juste prendre un petit
I
une minute.
would like to take a minute.
La réflexion que je veux que vous fassiez, c'est qu'est-ce que moi
And the
je peux
reflection I
faire
want you to have is
pour
what
avoir une
I can do
attitude positive.
to have a positive
Qu'est-ce que
attitude.
moi je peux faire? Ça, c'est
What
personnel
can
à
I
vous,
do?
là, mais
This is
qu'est-ce que je
personal.
pourrais
This
faire
is for you.
dans la prochaine semaine,
What
dans le
could I
prochain
do
mois
in the next week, the next month,
pour favoriser
to
une meilleure attitude? Dans le fond?
have a
Je
better
vous donne juste un
attitude?
petit 45 secondes.
I'll give
écrivez
you
dans vos
45 seconds,
boîtes à
write it
outils,
down in your
qu'est-ce que
toolbox,
vous pourriez faire pour
what you could do
favoriser votre
to
mieux-être
help
psychologique ou votre attitude.
reaching, to help your well-being, your psychological well-being, or your attitude.
Ça commence à rentrer.
They're already starting to come in.
OK. On a dit qu'on commençait avec le focus, puis qu'on
All
allait
right, we said
finir avec le
we would
focus.
start with focus and we
Donc, on
would
finit avec
finish
une
with
histoire,
focus.
encore
So
une fois
here's a
comme une
little story.
analogie, mais qui
It's
parle
an
du
analogy,
focus, OK?
but on focus.
Donc, en levant la main. Y
So
en a-tu
what,
dans la salle
when you
qui ont
raise your
déjà fait
hand,
du parachute?
do we have people in the room that already went skydiving?
Ah oui?
Oh, we have some. There's someone over there that went outside their comfort zone. Another one there. We have 2, 3 people in the room that already went skydiving. So I will tell you about my adventure, my skydiving adventure.
Donc, après mes études universitaires,
After
j'ai
university,
décidé d'aller dans l'Ouest canadien
I decided to go in the
pour,
Canadian West.
faire des activités là, un peu plus
I wanted to
d'adrénaline,
do
donc, du vélo de montagne,
adrenaline-filled
la
activities,
randonnée
mountain
pédestre, et un
bike,
saut en parachute.
hiking, and
Donc là, j'avais décidé
skydiving.
de faire un saut en parachute en solo.
I decided to go
Pas
solo.
de guide à l'arrière de moi, là,
No
vraiment
guide at
sauter
my back,
tout seul.
really jump
Pour
on my
sauter
own.
tout seul,
But
on
to
a une
jump on your
demi-journée de
own,
formation.
you need to go to a half-day
Donc là,
training.
on se présente à la demi-journée de formation, puis là,
So you show up
l'instructeur
there,
nous raconte un petit peu
and the
les
instructor
déroulements
tells
d'entraînement,
you how
les
it's going to
conseils de
go,
sécurité, puis
the
il nous
safety,
dit quoi faire si jamais le
and
parachute
then
n'ouvre pas.
it tells you what to do if
Mais il nous
the
dit
parachute
quoi faire si
doesn't
le
open. No,
parachute,
it's
il
not true.
s'entremêle. Quoi faire si
It
on a
tells
des
you
problèmes,
what to do
là,
if the
puis,
parachute
à un moment donné, pendant la formation, il a dit,
grows knots or tangles
en
itself.
anglais, il dit, if something
And in
goes
English it says,
wrong, don't look where you don't want to go. S'il y a quelque chose qui se passe qui est pas... regarde pas où tu veux pas aller. Okay? Donc, si tu vois un poteau de téléphone, regarde pas le poteau de téléphone.
If you see a telephone pole, don't look at the pole. If you see electric wires, or if you see water, don't look at the water.
Pour une raison ou pour une autre, ça
Don't
m'avait
look where
resté
you don't
ça
want to
dans mon
go.
esprit.
And for a reason or another, it stayed in myself. It stayed in my mind.
On dîne, là, ils nous
So
apportent
the
dans une
morning
fausse avion.
ended, we ate
Là, on
lunch.
embarque dans la fausse
They
avion,
bring us
puis
in
on
in a
pratique.
false airplane,
Puis là,
a makeshift
on
airplane, and
embarque
then
dans
we
la vraie
practiced.
avion.
And then we get in the real
On est
plane,
tous cordés comme des sardines. On est
and
environ
we're
7.
all
à la queue
next to each other like
Là,
sardines.
l'avion monte.
We're about 7 of us, and the airplane goes up. And when we're up
Il y a un
there,
gros bullseye. L'objectif,
we know there's a big bullseye at the bottom, and the goal is
Donc
to
là,
land on the
le
bullseye.
premier qui est en avant, son
So
tour
the first
vient,
one, his turn comes,
il décide
but
de pas sauter.
he gets scared and decides not to
Parce qu'on
jump.
est à la queue leu-leu, si lui
But
saute
because we're
pas,
one after the other, if he
moi,
doesn't
je
jump,
saute pas.
well, I can't jump.
Fait qu'on l'a pogné.
So we grabbed him and we pushed him out.
Non, c'est pas vrai.
No, it's not true.
Éventuellement, il a décidé de sauter.
Eventually, he
Donc là,
decided to
l'avion
jump.
fait un autre tour.
So
Là,
the
viens, mon
plane
tour.
goes for
Et puis là,
another
je vous explique un peu à
round,
quoi ça
and then
ressemble.
now it's my turn.
Donc là, la porte
I'll
est
tell you,
ouverte.
I'll show you
Le
what it looks
bras
like.
de
Door is
l'avion, donc là, tu
open.
mets tes deux
You
mains
have
sur le bras de
the arm
l'avion.
right there, so you
Là,
put
tes
your
pieds
hands
sont comme
on
ça.
it, and your feet are like that in the
Tu regardes
wind,
l'instructeur.
and
Quand
you look at the
l'instructeur
instructor.
dit go,
And when the instructor says
tu dois
go,
lâcher.
you need to let go.
La première fois qu'il a dit go,
The
j'ai fait
first
comme
time he
si je
said
l'avais pas
go,
entendu.
I did just like if I hadn't heard.
Puis là,
And then he kept going forward. The second time he said go, he was a little bit more mischievous. So then I let go. And when I grabbed my consciousness back, I was a lot lower. We needed to count 1 bateau, 2 bateau, up to 10 bateau, and open our parachute. And I didn't know where I was. So I just opened my parachute. And it was super beautiful. It was quiet. There was a little lady that was talking to me in the ear and says, turn left, turn right. But that was, curiously, I was listening to her, but I didn't go towards the bullseye. And then at some point, I heard her say, holy shit.
I'm sending you in the wrong field. We're going to lose communication, find a place to land. Donc, pour une raison ou pour une autre,
so for a reason or another, she wasn't sending me at the right spot. And then she said, okay.
À quoi j'ai pensé?
What did I think about? What was my first reflex? It's weird, but that's what happened. That's what came to mind. Don't look where you don't want to go. And I looked at the bottom, and there was a great river. So I looked on the other side, and I landed there beautifully, and they came get me with the airplane. The moral of the story, if you put all your energy or your focus on what you don't want, that's exactly what you're going to have. If you focus on all the negative at work, on everything that you don't like, if you focus on all these things, we will continually live through that. But if you focus on solutions, if you concentrate on where you want to go, on your objectives, it can make all the difference in what's going to happen. So this analogy, it's just an analogy, but to explain to you how important it is to focus on the right things. And in your toolbox, focus on your strengths. Focus on the strength of your employees, not only on things that they are being challenged with. And through this lens, you'll say, maybe, oh yeah, you have challenges there, but you have strength, and that can be the difference in what you live. So this is the presentation that I had, and I hope that these 6 strategies, you could get out tangible things that you can bring back home and that you can use to help yourself. Don't hesitate to contact me if you need other conferences or anything else. I still have 9 minutes, but I would like to leave room for questions. If you have specific questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And we'll come to an end. We'll close this presentation down with that. So do we have questions in the room that touch on what we've seen today?
J'aimerais savoir ce que vous faites vous en tant que
I would like to know, you as a psychologist, what you do to empty your cup of coffee. I run. I'll give you a good example. At a certain point, my dad suffered a cancer, and sport was my savior. Because I did bike events for cancer, and when I went running, it allowed me to better manage this reality. It was emotionally difficult for me. Sport was my thing. It's not necessarily the same for everybody, but it could be a way for certain people to channel and manage these emotions. So you would say, in general, physical activity. Yes. I would like to remind people that it's also possible to ask your questions via Slido. So on the screen, you'll see the QR code that will allow you to ask your questions on Slido in the language you prefer.
2, 3 personnes.
2, 3 people.
So, how do you manage anxiety? Like, how is the best way to manage anxiety?
Anxiety, there's like two pathways. There's the physiological pathways, so le chemin physique. Puis
The physiological pathways, and you have the psychological pathways.
The physical pathways is really with breathing. Breathing is one of the really good ways. Okay, so la respiration profonde. Donc,
this is deep breathing. When our nervous system is activated, we need to give it a break. And a good way to do that is by doing deep respirations. It activates the calm response. If we do this exercise in a repetitive way, then we'll give a pause, we'll give a break to our nervous system. Everything that's yoga or physical activity even will free endorphins. This is something that allows us to calm our anxiety level in a physical way. Sleep does also have a physiological impact. If you don't sleep several nights in a row, you will have more anxiety. For men, sometimes meditation or breathing is something that they're not really interested in. But for men, meditation could be going fishing. If you have nature, it's quiet. The only thing they do is being there. So that can be art, painting, could be puzzles. But it's to have a break that allows the system nervous to relax. This is physiological. Psychologically speaking, we need to manage negative thoughts. Talking with someone can give us another perspective. When I have anxious people that talk to their mother or their partner, and they will say, "Oh, I didn't see it that way," and that allows the nervous system to calm down. The self-management of our thoughts is the other approach. We can educate ourselves on cognitive reformulation, which means you take a negative thought and you try to find a thought that's more positive or realistic to manage this anxiety. So I'm not sure if it answers your question. Claude, do we have some questions on Slido? They're all in English, so we got the first one.
Je pense que les enfants, il faut pas.
I think for kids, we should not minimize their capacity and their resilience. We shouldn't be afraid to open up discussions, especially if they are the ones who open this door. We need to get in there. This is part of a sad reality, but these are opportunities of discussion. It could allow to open the door on mental health, on when you live through anxiety or distress or intimidation, bullying, and it can help us find solutions. So you can use this discussion to promote a type of development, a type of progress or tools. I would say that you need to speak about that subject, but try to do it according to the kid's age. So don't talk to that person if he's not an adult.
Next up, Claude, we'll take that one as well. How do you navigate a situation where you want to implement these strategies, but leadership does not support them or create space for open dialogue around them?
Ça prend de la résilience.
It takes a lot of resilience. Sometimes this is part of the realities that we are in. I currently work in an industry where the leadership is focused on the numbers. They don't care about human resources. It's very hard for employees, but we need to be resilient. And often it's micro groups. So let's say we don't have a lot of support from head leadership, but between ourselves, we will support one another. We'll be resilient together. And oftentimes it's the best way to survive. It's oftentimes the best way to succeed and to manage this better amongst ourselves. It's sad, and yes, it happens, that we have leadership that's focused on the wrong thing.
And we'll take 2 other questions to end this session today. How would you handle difficult conversations with employees surrounding challenges in performance while still being encouraging?
Plus les employés vont avoir confiance en vous,
When employees trust you,
la critique.
they'll be able to accept
Building
critique.
trust is a really big thing. And it's not nothing you can buy, c'est pas de quoi que tu peux acheter, c'est de quoi qui se bâtit puis qui se
You
crée.
can't
cette
buy it.
relation de
You have to
confiance.
create it, this
Donc,
trust
avoir,
relationship.
une bonne relation de confiance,
So
c'est
to have a
facile.
good, trusting relationship is
Mentionné tantôt,
easier.
ben, 5 positifs pour un négatif.
5
Donc,
positives for one
faut
negative,
pas avoir peur, là,
like
de-
we said earlier.
pas juste-
Don't be afraid
parce que des fois, il y en a qui parlent de
to,
la sandwich,
you know,
un
because sometimes
positif,
people
un
are talking
négatif,
about the
un
sandwich,
positif.
so positive,
Les
negative,
employés savent
positive.
c'est
But
quoi la
employees
stratégie,
know
puis
what the
ça
strategy
marche
is,
pas vraiment, tu sais.
and it
Fait que
doesn't really
l'idée,
work.
c'est sur une base quotidienne,
The idea here is daily,
essayer
on
de
a daily
favoriser
basis.
les forces.
Try to
Favoriser les
focus
forces, quand il y
on
a un
strength,
négatif, ben, on
and
use
when there's a
ça,
negative
c'est
element,
la
then it's
Il me reste
easier
1
to
minute
talk about it.
25, peut-être une
I still
dernière.
have 1 minute 25, so maybe a last question.
This one, actually. Sometimes we have the courage to face the challenges, but in return, the results are scary. It's not always $50 cash. That's why I liked it. How do you cope with that?
But in return, the results are scary. Okay. Ouais. I would say, like, the attitude is, like, embrace fear. Because courage is not the absence of fear, is having fear and still go forward. Okay? So you need to dig deep down and believe in your abilities and just face the challenge that is there. And that's called courage. So that's would be my answer.
Let's give a big round of applause to our keynote speaker, Claude Beaulieu.